Urologist explains 5 simple mistakes that are making your Tadalafil Cialis useless. Let me ask you something. Is there anything more frustrating than feeling like your own body is no longer on your side? You're doing everything you're supposed to. You take the medication your doctor prescribed, and you're still met with disappointment, a feeling that can make a man feel, well, powerless. In my practice, I hear it all the time. Men come to me, convinced that the pill, like Tadalafil, has simply stopped working for them. They think their body has built up a tolerance, or that it's just another inevitable part of getting older. But what if I told you that in the vast majority of cases, the pill isn't the problem at all? In fact, extensive research published in the highly respected Journal of Urology confirms this. They've done what are called pharmacokinetic studies. It's a technical term for tracking exactly how a medicine moves through your body, and what they consistently find is that the drug itself remains incredibly stable and effective. The real issue, the thing that changes, is the conditions on the ground inside our own bodies. This brings to mind a patient of mine, a gentleman named Robert, 68 years old. He sat in my office, so frustrated, convinced his prescription was failing him. But once we identified and adjusted a few simple things, just a few, he came back a month later with a smile I hadn't seen in years, a genuine smile. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and I've been a urologist for over 25 years. And today, I'm going to share the 5 most common and easily fixable mistakes I see men make every single day when taking Tadalafil. These are the very same tips I gave to Robert, and my hope is that they can make all the difference for you too. All right, let's dive into our first and often overlooked tip. This one is all about quality control, specifically where you get your medication from. It matters more than you think. Now, I understand when you're dealing with something personal like erectile performance, you want a reliable solution. And many men, quite understandably, want to save a few dollars where they can. They hear that a generic version of Tadalafil, or Cialis, is available, and they assume that every single pill, no matter where it comes from, is the same. They might even find a deal online or from an unfamiliar source. This is the biggest mistake. A pill might look identical on the outside. It might even say Tadalafil right there on the label. But what's inside can actually vary in ways that directly impact its effectiveness. And that's something we simply cannot afford when it comes to your health and confidence. So, why does the source matter so much? Well, the active ingredient itself, the Tadalafil, is indeed the same molecule. That's regulated. But here's the crucial part. Medications aren't just the active ingredient. They also contain what we call fillers and binding agents. These are the other substances that make up the pill. Think of them as the glue or the casing that holds everything together and delivers that active ingredient. These fillers can differ significantly from one manufacturer to another, and these differences aren't trivial. They directly affect how quickly and how completely the drug is absorbed into your bloodstream. If the absorption isn't optimal, you're simply not getting the full dose, or it's not working at the right time. And this isn't just theory or my personal opinion. The Food and Drug Administration, our trusted FDA, does set rigorous standards for all medications, generic included. But even within those standards, there can be slight yet significant variations. For instance, a comprehensive meta-analysis from 2017, published in the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, reviewed numerous studies on generic drug performance. It highlighted that while generics are bioequivalent, meaning they deliver roughly the same amount of drug, the rate at which that drug becomes available in the body, its time to maximum concentration, can differ. For a medication like Tadalafil, where you need a reliable, immediate effect, even a subtle difference in that absorption rate can absolutely be noticeable. It can be the difference between a successful evening and, well, a disappointing one. To help you visualize this, think of it like baking a cake. You and I could both use the same recipe for, let's say, a classic apple pie. We'd use apples, flour, sans sugar. But if I use a different brand of flour that has a slightly different protein content, or if my oven runs just a little cooler than yours, the final cake will be different. It might be denser, or not rise as much, or take longer to bake. The core ingredients are there, yes, but the little details, the fillers and binding agents in our pill analogy, can change the outcome. The same principle applies here. You want that reliable, perfectly baked outcome every single time. So, what should you do? My strong recommendation is this. Always use a licensed pharmacy you trust. This means a physical pharmacy or a well-established, reputable online pharmacy that requires a valid prescription and is transparent about its sourcing. If you're currently using a generic and you feel it's just not working the way it used to, or not at all, don't hesitate. Talk to your doctor or even your pharmacist. Ask them about trying a different generic manufacturer or consider switching to the brand name, like Cialis, for a month, just to see if you notice a difference. It's about being proactive for your own health. This was exactly the first step for Robert, that 68-year-old gentleman I mentioned earlier. He'd been getting his Tadalafil from a discount online service he'd found, tempted by the lower price. Once we discussed this, and he switched back to his trusted local pharmacy, the one he'd used for years for all his other prescriptions, he immediately felt more confident in the product. It sounds simple, but that confidence, knowing he was taking a truly reliable medication, was a crucial foundation for everything else we discussed. It really was the first building block. If you believe in quality, and if this makes sense to you, I want you to go down to the comments right now and type the word quality below. Let me know you're with me on this. Okay, moving on to tip number 2. This one might sound incredibly simple, but in my 25 years of practice, I've seen it make a profound difference. It is this. Pay close attention to what's in your stomach when you take the pill. Now, here is the critical mistake that I see countless men make, and it's a completely understandable one. They associate taking Tadalafil with a special occasion, a date night, for example. And what does a special occasion often involve? A nice celebratory dinner, maybe a big, juicy steak, a rich pasta dish, or a burger with all the trimmings. They finish their meal, feel relaxed and happy, and then they take their pill, expecting it to work its magic. But in reality, this timing, this association of the pill with a large, heavy meal, is a critical error. It can be the very thing that sabotages the medication's effectiveness, leaving you feeling frustrated and confused. So, why is this? What is the science behind it? It all comes down to the process of digestion and absorption. When you consume a meal, particularly one that is high in fat, your digestive system kicks into high gear. It has a big job to do, breaking down those complex fats and proteins. This process requires a lot of energy and resources. If you introduce Tadalafil into your stomach at the same time, the medication essentially has to wait in line. Its journey from your gut into your bloodstream is significantly delayed and sometimes even reduced. Your body is so preoccupied with digesting the heavy food that it can't efficiently absorb the medication. It's a simple matter of biological traffic control. And please don't just take my word for it. This isn't a discovery. This fact was noted way back in the original clinical trials for Tadalafil. The pharmacokinetic data, again, that's the science of how the drug moves through the body, shows this with absolute clarity. The peak blood concentration of the drug, that moment when it's at its most powerful in your system, is reached much, much more slowly when it's taken with a high-fat meal. We're talking about a delay of potentially 1 to 2 hours. And in some cases, the overall amount of medication absorbed can be reduced by as much as 20 to 30%. That's a huge drop in effectiveness, all because of what you ate. Here's a simple analogy to help you remember this. Imagine your medication is a VIP guest trying to get into an exclusive private club. The club is your bloodstream. Now, if that VIP arrives and the entrance is clear, they can walk right in, no problem. But if the entrance is already mobbed by a huge, rowdy party, that's your big, fatty meal, the VIP is going to be stuck outside, stuck in the crowd. They might get in eventually, but it will take a lot longer, and they'll be flustered by the time they do. You want to give your VIP guest a clear, unobstructed path. So, how do you apply this in your own life? It's very straightforward. For the best, most reliable results, you should aim to take Tadalafil on a relatively empty stomach. What does that mean exactly? It means waiting at least 2 hours after your last significant meal. A light snack, like a piece of fruit or a handful of nuts, is usually perfectly fine. But you absolutely want to avoid those heavy, greasy, high-fat meals right before you take your pill. Consistency here is key. And this leads to a powerful synergy, something that's closely related. The same principle applies to alcohol. Many men enjoy a glass of wine or a beer with their dinner, and in moderation, that's generally okay. However, excessive alcohol intake does 2 things. First, it can also slow down the absorption of the medication. And second, alcohol itself is a depressant that can directly impair erectile performance, completely working against what the pill is trying to achieve. It's like pressing the accelerator and the brake at the very same time. It just doesn't work. This is all about creating the best possible conditions for success, giving your body and your medication the best possible chance to work together perfectly. Now we come to number 3. And I must tell you, this might be the most important and the most profoundly misunderstood aspect of how these medications work. It's a concept that, once you truly grasp it, can change everything. It is this: the pill needs a partner. And that partner is sexual stimulation. I've seen it time and time again in my practice, and it's the most common mistake by a wide margin. Men think of this medication as a kind of magic pill, an on switch for an erection. They take the pill, maybe they lie down, turn on the television, and they just wait. They wait for something to happen automatically, as if the pill itself is supposed to do all the work. When it doesn't, they are left feeling confused, anxious, and believing the medication has failed them. But I have to be very clear about this. That is simply not how these medications work. Not at all. So let's talk about the science of why this is. Tadalafil does not create an erection. It enables one. There is a world of difference between those 2 words. Its primary job is to work on your blood vessels. It helps them to relax and open up, which allows blood to flow into the penis much more easily. It prepares your body, making it incredibly receptive to the signals of arousal. But, and please, if you remember one thing from this video, let it be this: your brain must send that signal first. Without the go signal from your brain, the entire process simply cannot begin. And the medical literature is absolutely unanimous on this point. The entire erectile process is initiated by a cascade of neurotransmitters in the brain, chemicals that are released in response to arousal. Think about it. Sights, sounds, touch, even thoughts and memories. These are the things that trigger the initial nerve signals. The medication, Tadalafil, is working downstream. It's working on the plumbing, so to speak, making sure the pipes are clear and ready. But without that initial neurological trigger from the brain, nothing happens. The medication is in your system, ready to go, but the engine hasn't been started. I want you to think of it this way. It's an analogy I use with all my patients. Taking Tadalafil is like flipping the main power breaker on for your entire house. With that one flip, electricity is now available in every single room. The potential is there. The power is ready. But the lights in the kitchen won't turn on by themselves. The television in the living room won't magically start playing. You still have to physically walk into that room and flip the individual light switch. That light switch, that is your brain's arousal. The pill provides the power, but you have to flip the switch. So, what does this mean for you practically? It means that after you take the pill, you and your partner must actively engage in the things that you find stimulating. It means you must engage in foreplay, in intimacy, in all the sensory activities that generate genuine arousal for you. You cannot be a passive bystander in this process. The pill has set the stage perfectly. It's built a beautiful theater, soundproofed and with perfect lighting. But you and your partner, You have to be the actors who start the play. And this understanding creates a wonderful synergy. When men realize this, it takes so much pressure off. It's no longer about waiting for a mechanical process to just happen. It allows you to put the focus back where it belongs, on intimacy, on connection, on the shared experience with your partner. This mental shift alone, from passive waiting to active engagement, can significantly reduce performance anxiety. And when that anxiety is lowered, the brain's natural arousal signals can do their job much more effectively, leading to far better and more satisfying results for both partners. It's not just about mechanics, it's about connection. Now, if this light switch analogy just made something click for you, if you just had a little moment of clarity, do me a favor. Go down to the comments and type the word "aha." I'd love to know if this is making sense. All right, let's move on to our fourth tip. This is a crucial one, and it's all about a very simple principle: making sure you are using the right tool for the right job. We are talking about the correct dosage. Now, this is an area where I see a tremendous amount of confusion, and it is a frequent and critical mistake. Many patients are prescribed Tadalafil, and they know it comes in different strengths, typically 5 milligrams and 20 milligrams. The mistake is assuming that these doses are interchangeable, or that they are just weaker and stronger versions of the same thing. I have had patients who are prescribed the 5 milligram pill for daily use, who then take that same 5 milligram pill right before an intimate evening, expecting it to give them that powerful on-demand boost they're looking for. When it doesn't deliver a dramatic result, they feel the medication isn't working at all. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of what these two doses are designed to do. So let's clarify this right now, because the why here is incredibly important. The 5 milligram dose and the 20 milligram dose are designed for two completely different treatment strategies. They are not the same tool. The 5 milligram dose is what we call a daily therapy. The goal is for you to take one pill every single day at roughly the same time. This strategy maintains a low but constant level of the medication in your bloodstream at all times. This provides a steady, baseline support for erectile function, allowing for more spontaneous intimacy without the need to plan. It's a maintenance approach. The 20 milligram dose, on the other hand, is specifically for on-demand use. It is designed to be taken only as needed before a planned sexual activity to provide a maximum, potent effect for that single event. And this distinction isn't arbitrary. It is firmly established in medical science and clinical practice. The official prescribing guidelines from major medical associations, like the American Urological Association, clearly differentiate between these two treatment approaches. The clinical efficacy studies, the large-scale research that first proved these drugs work, established the effectiveness for on-demand use with the 10 milligram and 20 milligram doses. The 5 milligram dose was studied and approved under a completely separate protocol for daily use. They have different goals, and therefore, they deliver different results. I like to use an analogy involving something most of us are familiar with: coffee. Think of the 5 milligram daily pill as having a slow, steady drip of coffee throughout the day. It's not a huge jolt, but it keeps your energy levels stable and consistent from morning until night. It keeps you ready. Now, think of the 20 milligram pill as taking a powerful double shot of espresso. You wouldn't drink that all day long, but you take it right before a big meeting, or when you need to be at your absolute sharpest for a specific task. You use it for a maximum, focused effect. They are both coffee, but you use them for very different purposes. So how do you apply this knowledge? It's very simple. First, look at your prescription. If it is for on-demand use, meaning you only take it when you anticipate intimacy, then the 20 milligram dose is the one indicated to achieve that maximum effect we're talking about. If you feel your current dose isn't quite enough, you must speak with your doctor about it. And conversely, if you are currently on a 5 milligram daily regimen and find that you need an extra boost on occasion, this is also a conversation to have with your doctor. Please do not simply take more pills or adjust the dosage on your own. This must be done under medical guidance to ensure it's safe and appropriate for you. And this creates a powerful synergy. Simply understanding this difference empowers you. It allows you to have a much more informed, intelligent conversation with your doctor. You can go into your next appointment and say, "Doctor, I understand the difference between the daily and the on-demand approach. Can we discuss which strategy is truly the best fit for my health, my lifestyle, and my personal needs?" This knowledge turns you from a passive patient into an active partner in your own healthcare, and that is always the path to the best possible results. And now we arrive at our fifth and final tip. We've covered the quality of your medication, the importance of an empty stomach, the necessity of stimulation, and using the correct dose. This last piece of the puzzle is all about the clock. It's about timing your dose for peak effect. Here's the mistake, and it's another very common one, born from simply following the basic instructions on the bottle. The label often says something like, "Take 30 to 60 minutes before activity." And so, what do many men do? They wait until the last possible moment. They see that an intimate opportunity is approaching. They look at the clock and they take their pill in a rush, hoping it will kick in, right on schedule. This approach, this last-minute timing, can create a huge amount of unnecessary anxiety. You're left wondering, will it work in time? Is it starting to work yet? This mental pressure, this race against the clock, is the exact opposite of the relaxed, confident state you want to be in. And from a purely scientific standpoint, it may not even be the optimal window for the medication. So why is this? What does science tell us about timing? While it's true that Tadalafil starts to work fairly quickly, for some men within an hour, it does not reach what we call its peak plasma concentration that quickly. That's the technical term for the point at which the medication is at its absolute maximum power inside your bloodstream. And to get the most reliable, potent effect from your dose, you want to be in that peak window when it matters most. For Tadalafil, that peak is not at 30 or 60 minutes. It's actually closer to 2 hours after you take it. And this isn't guesswork. The pharmacokinetic studies on Tadalafil are exceptionally clear on this point. The Tmax, which stands for time to maximum concentration, for this specific drug is, on average, 2 hours. Now, as you may know, Tadalafil is famous for its incredibly long duration of action. It can remain effective for up to 36 hours, which is why it's often nicknamed the weekend pill. But it's crucial to understand that its strongest effect, its peak power, is within the first several hours after that 2-hour mark. After about 10 or 12 hours, your body begins to clear it from your bloodstream more rapidly. So you want to harness that peak. Let me give you an analogy. Think of it like launching a rocket into space. You don't just light the fuse and expect it to be in orbit instantly, do you? Of course not. There's a countdown. There's an ignition sequence. And then there is a powerful ascent phase where the engines are firing at maximum thrust to break through the atmosphere. That 2-hour mark after you take your pill, that is like your rocket reaching its peak altitude. That's the moment of maximum power. You want your mission to happen at that peak, not during the initial shaky liftoff phase. So, how do you put this into practice? It is incredibly simple, and it will relieve so much anxiety. From now on, try taking your pill a full 2 hours before you anticipate any sexual activity. That's it. Just shift your timing. This simple change does 2 wonderful things. First, it gives your body more than enough time to fully absorb the medication, ensuring it's at peak strength when you need it. And second, it completely removes that nagging last-minute anxiety of, will it kick in on time? You've taken it. You know it's in your system, working at its best. You can now relax and focus on your partner. And the beautiful synergy here is that Tadalafil's long-lasting effect gives you an enormous window of opportunity. Taking it 2 hours beforehand doesn't mean you have to rush or perform on a schedule. Not at all. It just ensures that you are fully ready when the moment is right. Whether that moment is in 2 hours, 3 hours, or even 8 hours, it gives you back a sense of spontaneity, a sense of freedom. It provides you with peace of mind, knowing that you've done everything right and your body is perfectly prepared for success. So let's quickly bring everything together. We've uncovered the 5 keys to making sure your medication works for you, not against you. Remember, use a quality source. Take it on an empty stomach. Never forget the need for stimulation. Use the correct dose for the job, and finally give it the proper timing window of about 2 hours. But you know, knowledge without action, well, it's just entertainment. So I want to leave you with a simple doctor's order for this week, a concrete action plan. First, I want you to choose just one of the tips we discussed today. Don't try to do everything at once. Maybe it's the timing. Second, look at your calendar. Find your next planned date night or special evening and make a decision right now to take your pill a full 2 hours before. And third, on that same evening, commit to having a lighter dinner. That's it. A simple, manageable plan with just 3 steps. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Doctor, that seems too simple. Will it really make a difference? And my answer to you is an emphatic yes. This isn't about adding complicated chores to your life. This is about taking back control. It's about making a powerful, effective tool work exactly as it was designed to. You absolutely deserve to get the full benefit of the treatment your doctor prescribed. Because at the end of the day, we both know this isn't just about a pill, is it? It's about confidence. It's about intimacy. It's about feeling vital, energized, and truly connected to the person you love. Please, don't let a few simple, correctable misunderstandings stand in the way of that. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. So, if you're ready to put these tips into practice and take that first small step, I want to invite you to do 2 things. First, hit that subscribe button right below so you don't miss out on our future science-backed health guides. And more importantly, I want you to go down to the comments section right now and write day 1. This is your public commitment, your declaration to yourself and to this community that you are taking action. Thank you so much for investing your valuable time with me today. In our next video, we'll be discussing 3 natural ways you can support healthy circulation as you age. It's information you won't want to miss. Until then, remember, it's about adding life to your years. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and I'll see you in the next video.